Alright guys, how you doing? Welcome. Obviously there's no one waiting for this particular one to go live, but that's perfectly fine. I just wanted to get this out there as soon as I could, so that way everyone has the latest and up-to-date info. So I just made a quick short about this, but I want to go into a little more depth and go over a couple of these things that are coming up from BMW themselves. Specifically, I wanted to go over some of the information about some new tech that's in the i5. I wanted to go over things like AIRCONSOLE, and I wanted to go over which cars will be able to get iDrive 8.5, since obviously some things have changed since then. So let's just dive right in. Let's start with 8.5. From BMW themselves, they basically mentioned in their original press release for iDrive 8.5, they said that we would actually be getting iDrive 8.5. That basically anything running iDrive 8 will get 8.5 either through manufacturing, aka when they're produced, or via excuse me, or via some remote software update. Now there are some limitations to that, so that's what I wanted to do here. So basically all those cars that are going to be getting that iDrive 8.5 update from the factory, that's all going to be starting in July of this year. Those ones going to be getting that are the 7 Series, i7, iX, the i5, the i4, the X7, X5, X6, X5M, X6M, and the XM. So anything, they're all 2024 model year that are going to be produced in July of this year, they're going to start getting iDrive 8.5 from the factory. Now, in terms of which ones are going to be getting it as a remote software update, that becomes a little bit more convoluted, just because you have basically your 2023 model years. That's going to be everything. That's only going to be 2023 X7s and 2023 7 Series and i7 cars that will be able to do it remote software update that are 2023 model year. And then you have all the 2024 model, the little thing there. And then you're going to have all your 2024 model year cars that will be able to get it running iDrive 8 now. And those ones are the iX, the X7, X5, X6, X7, X5M, and the X6M. Now, to go make it a little more, even more confusing, is all the ones that are the M, so the X5M and X6Ms, all those, as well as the XM, are not going to get the quick select feature in iDrive 8.5. Again, I'll go over a little more about iDrive 8.5 when it comes out officially to us. I have had a little bit of time to go and play with the pre-production version of it, so it is helpful. It is definitely a lot of the people's complaints that have gone out there about the current iDrive 8 all get fixed with 8.5 and make it a much smoother user experience altogether. So it's definitely a worthwhile update. But then what this basically means is that certain cars will not be getting the over-the-air update version, or in this case, even the factory version going forward. So the 4 Series and 3 Series and 2 Series will not be getting 8.5, even as a 2024 model year. They'll still be running normal iDrive 8, and that's mainly because they're not running something called MGU22. That's a hardware difference that's found in the various cars, and that's why certain models will be getting it and others will not. Now, moving on to basically what's coming out with the i5 or the G60, depending on how you know it as. The G60 will now be getting something for the first time coming out in a 5 Series first instead of, say, a 7 Series. So typically when BMW releases things, they release it on their top-end model and then slowly trickle it down through the rest of their range. This time, 5 Series is going to be getting something, or actually two major things, which I think are really cool, that the 5 will, that all the other cars will get eventually. The first thing it's getting is AIRCONSOLE. So AIRCONSOLE allows you to actually use the 4K display and play console-style games using your phones as the controllers. So that's going to be extremely helpful. Everyone has a phone. You can use the phone as a controller. You don't have to buy anything extra. It all works with what's already there, and they have a growing list of games already available for it. At one point, I believe they're going to actually open up the entire 500 game count that's already available for AIRCONSOLE already, so that's going to be linked up to that. Now, one of the caveats to that is you will need the 5G personal eSIM connected and headed up. So again, if you have not seen any of my other videos about the 5G personal eSIM, that basically is what gives you your Wi-Fi connection in your newer iDrive 8 cars, and that allows you to also use your phone's data plan but it's basically a secondary data plan similar to if you added, say, an Apple Watch to your iPhone plan. So that right now currently works only with Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. So if you don't have any of those, unfortunately you will not be able to do it, but that's going to be where you're going to get the most out of that. As you move into that, they might start to actually open that up to any of the subcategories within there. There's rumors of that. There's not any actual solid thing. BMW hasn't actually released anything on it, but there are rumors that that's going to start to expand to things like, you know, Metro Mobile and Mint Mobile and all these other guys that are like subversions of those bigger companies. So we'll wait and see. Hopefully that will happen. Another major thing that's going to be happening with the i5 and 5 Series coming out is when you get Driver Assistance Professional. As expected, it does add Highway Assistant for you, allowing you to go actual hands-free on the highway pulling forward. But what it adds now is something called it's basically lane change with eye activation, meaning that going forward, so for instance, I'm in the driver's seat right now, it'll be able to tell if I'm looking and I want to make a lane change, looking at my left mirror or my right mirror based solely on my eyes, and will actually instigate a lane change based on that alone. Now, doing it from what I understand from it and from my quick experience testing it, it is not one of these, like, you know, a quick glance is going to go, oh yeah, lane change. No, it's very, very intuitive, so you have to physically, you know, yep, that's the one, and then it will instigate that lane change for you. That'll actually mean that you will have very good hands-free usage on highways, and will make you, you know, basically really have a great experience on the highway. One of the main reasons that I'm definitely bringing this up here too is, I'm not sure if you saw a recent article out in God, what was that? What was the paper? I can't remember the paper off the top of my head. Wall Street Journal. That's where it is. So Wall Street Journal released a new thing that basically came out saying that a lot of people compare this to, say, Tesla's autopilot. First off, $2,100 versus $15,000. Just saying, for one. But for two, there's been a massive update in terms of BMW's full self-drive, or sorry, Tesla's full self-driving software, and how many accidents they've been in, / how many fatalities. So as of right now, since the latest betas came out, there have been 17 fatalities to it, and I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head. It was something like 789 or 782 accidents based on that full self-driving feature. Part of the reason for that is a lot of people think that it's going to full self-drive and you do not have to touch the steering wheel. With Teslas, you still have to touch the steering wheel, so you still have to show that you are currently there and, you know, active as an active participant. Not saying the BMW means you cannot be an active participant, but because it still requires you to actually face forward to be active and then make your lane changes based on eye movement, means that you, even though the car is doing most of the driving in that instance, you are still in charge and you still control everything that's there. It's not something where you can just suddenly, oh, that's great, hey, how you doing, yeah, and start talking with someone else in the car. So it still means that you are involved as a driver. It still means that you are involved in the decisions made, and the car isn't doing that for you. I personally think that's a safer way to do it. And another thing is, you are not beta testing for us. So Tesla still, which is one of the reasons why I'm no longer a Tesla owner, Tesla is a beta test. They use their, you know, consumers to beta test products. So even though you're never getting the finished product, you're always getting the almost finished product. It's almost there, nearly finished. This will allow you to actually do, you know, what you need and get the car that you want, and make sure that when you get it from us, you have the finished product. And if we have updates for it, like for instance the lane change with eye activation, that's something that we have already tested. We are not beta testing it. We are not asking you, the customer, to beta test it. It comes ready to go. So that's it. That's all the updates I have here. Thanks for everyone that's kind of tuned in with this. If you have anything else you want to see, anything else you want to watch, please, of course, let me know in the comments. And yeah, thanks so much for being with me. Have a great rest of your day, guys.